promised, I'm going to unveil the Super Retro Trio. Now, you're probably wondering, well, we've been hearing about this thing for almost 2 years, but the thing is, and actually the question is that why hasn't it come out? Well, one is that I don't manufacture it, number one. Number two is I've been hearing about it for 2 years too, and I just finally got it. So it's pretty awesome that I finally got my hands on one. On the preliminary versions when I played them, it was really pretty awesome. I just like the colors too. So we're gonna take a look at it real quick. Enough of that, and here comes the box rise. Woo! There you have it. That's right. Here it is. The super duper Retro Trio. 3-in-1. Whoop, that's 4. 3 in 1. Or it might be just easier to do that. Right? Yeah, that may be easier. So, anyway, it's the Super Retro Trio from the makers of the Retro Duo. And, yeah, I mean, basically, it's just keeping the scene alive, my friends. This is what keeps classic gaming alive. So without these bad boys being continually made, these games would just disappear into nothingness. And the sad part about it is we've had a lot of classic arcade titles. I mean, as arcades continue to die and classic games, just, I guess, sink like the Titanic, those old school arcade machines are just going the way, the buggy whip. These are the only things that keep this bad boys alive. So definitely want to get yourself one of those. I'm going to show you a quick unboxing, and, I mean, whether you get this one or not, it's up to you. But ultimately, it's just an awesome tool to be able to play classic games. So let me nicely do this. They've always got nice packaging, The fact it's got a handle is just so much cooler. So as we take this out of the plastic, well, box, oh, it smells just like plastic. And you'll see, upon first view, you'll see the Super Retro Trio booklet. Now, this is actually a really thick booklet, and it's pretty large. I guess for this older folk that can't see anymore. But it has like everything you need to, yeah, I mean, it shows you even in French, Spanish, you name it. And the nice thing about it here, it's even showing me the ability to output to a Game Boy Advance system. So it's pretty thorough. I'm not gonna go through all this, but you get the head. And this smells like plastic too, even though it's paper. Okay, so here's the unit in all its glory and its packaging. As you can see, it's pretty good stuff. I mean, it's pretty large. I would say it's about 13 inches. 13 inches in diameter here. Let me see this. Okay, I'm going to take off the plastic. Ooh. And here you have it. And now the mock-ups, the red's actually brighter than the original photos I'd seen. They were originally online, but this is the finished product, and it's not super cheap feeling. It's kind of lightweight. I'd say it's a little less, well, just by the core unit itself without the controllers and everything else. I'd say it's about a little over a pound, and it's sleek. It really is sleek. I've always loved the color schemes they've used at Retrobit. So we got the red and black Super Retro Trio, and if you take a look at it really closely here, okay, you'll see that it's got a reset, the reset button, like so. You get a little clicking sound, so it actually has a reset. And then of course we have the NES, SNES, and right here is the NES, SNES, and the Genesis, and of course the off. So you can switch between the 3 different types of systems. NES, SNES, Genesis. Now, one of the core things about these were that all the Retrobit products is that they enabled you to be able to play out of region games. So that was a really, really big thing. So out of region games meaning, well, what are out of region games, right? So you can play Japanese Super Nintendo, right? Back in the day when the original Super Nintendo, you needed to have a converter. You couldn't play it in a regular system. So you could play you can use this system to play all your out of region games. Now they may look funny and may not look exactly correct, but we're gonna, you can add to the compatibility list. So if there's anything in particular that you want to tell on the video, you can tell, hey, this works, this works, this works. So I haven't tested everything, which is impossible for me to test everything right now, but you'll see as it comes up. So we have that, and we have the 3 AVs, and of course you'll see the S video. See that? It's an S video output, and of course the power supply, because you need to power something. And then this is a cool thing. Look at this. Yes, it is literally a slew of controller ports. It's got the Super Nintendo controller ports, the pinouts right here at the top. It's got your original Nintendo right here. I'm sorry. No, yes. Super Nintendo. I'm going crazy because there's so many here. I'm looking at it backwards. And then there's a Genesis right there. So those are the Genesis ones. Those two right there. And as I mentioned before, it has the selection to be able to out of region. So they're actually marked here: NTSC, PE, NJ, PA. So you see the PAL, the NTSC. So there's actually options to select. If you see it really closely, I'll show it to you. See that right there, right in between those two, the Genesis. Those are region selection buttons, right? So there you have it. And then, so yeah, I mean, I guess that's even shows you the support it has for the video output. And then if you up to the top over there, right here, you'll see that those are the switches for the controller. So you can use other controllers on other systems games. For instance, if you want to use a Genesis controller on a Super Nintendo game, you can do it. How it responds, I don't know exactly if it's gonna work. I wouldn't really want to use a Genesis controller on a Super Nintendo game, though I may want to use a Super Nintendo controller on a Genesis game, as opposed to a Genesis on a Super Nintendo. So, pretty cool. And of course, the thing closes up. Hear it? It just kind of like does its little clickety-clack thing. Clickety-clacka! And here you go. You got the main slots, right? Now, if you want to guess which slots are which. Now, I had to use my own music because I'd probably get copyright infringement on the video. So I wonder that they can't actually do that to me now. That's my rendition. Okay, so you have here the middle port, which is Super Nintendo. You can see the FX chip pieces right here for the extended Super Nintendo. And here is the original Nintendo 72-pin connection. And if you wanted to use Japanese Nintendo Famicom games, you can actually get a pin converter. They sell them online to play original Japanese Famicom games, Family Computer titles. And of course, this is the Genesis port because it's the smaller one. So, and that's the unit, folks. That is the unit. Again, it's very potent. Getting a little here with that. The nice thing is here too, of course, everything's included. Retrobit doesn't just throw a system at you. They throw your system at you with a bunch of other cool stuff, like these. Wow, look at that gold-plated goodness. Look at that. It's an Sdo plugs. These are high quality, folks. Not too shabby. It's not super thin. They're gold-plated. They're actually a little bit on the longer side, so they make a nice, sturdy connection. Because a lot of the times that's always a problem. Like the the hookups that come with the aftermarket systems are sometimes less than savory. And let's take a look here. And here is the controllers, and you get 2 of these. And if you feel these buttons, they actually have a nice kickback. They don't stick in. They don't have, they're not super hard. They're not super stiff. They feel kind of nice. The directional, it feels solid. It's a little higher, I think, the actual directional than a regular Super Nintendo pad. It's not as stiff. It feels like there's a little bit more play in it. There is a little bit more play. I don't know how that's going to come off. The top triggers, they feel real nice. So, whoa. Yeah, and then, of course, the start and select. So, obviously, the big issues here would be this directional. So if anybody's got like a Street Fighter or needs to do a half circle or something, needs some exact motions, please whip that game out and let me know how that works. But it feels good. It's gotta feel good. And of course, outside of that, we have the power supply, which is super small. Right, and for all of you that don't have a place to ground, it actually doesn't need a ground. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but there's no ground. The extra third piece. So, I mean, it's naturally grounded by itself, but it doesn't have that extra protection. So, I'd imagine, yeah. So be safe. But yeah, I mean that's it. That's basically the Super Retro Trio in a box. The official unboxing of the Super Retro Trio system that was due out well over, or I think maybe even 8-9 months ago. So now it's been released. It's been a soft release, meaning that they've only shipped so many units. So if you guys want to get your hands on this, and I suggest you do at the moment, because we're not sure how long they're going to be around for, because as you know, a lot of these times they become limited edition, the colors, sometimes they don't produce them for long periods of time. If you want to get your hands on them, don't forget to visit the link to DOSCheap.com where you can get this at the lowest price. Of course, DOSCheap.com has lots of cool other stuff, but of course they also have these awesome video games that I review. So thanks so much for watching. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask the questions in the video. Also, if you guys have one already, feel free to post what games work and what games are kind of wonky. Sometimes this is an aftermarket system. It plays 3 different games for the price of one system. Back in the day, you'd pay $150 to $200 for one system, and you got 3 here with the multi-compatibility. It's kind of come a long way. So it's never going to replace the original systems, but the fact that this is an all-inclusive unit is pretty cool. So, all right, gamers. Well, thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and if you got any questions, hit me back, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Keep on gaming.